So to get started, if you do not have a bolster, you can use pillows stacked up. What I've done here is I've made a little L shape with one block that's tall, one that's laid down flat. Lay the bolster on top. And then if you're not having one-sided back pain, we're going to come into a butterfly shape with a rolled blanket wrapped around our ankles to support the legs. If you're having one-sided back pain, that's going to be an indicator that you have a little more instability in the pelvis, and sometimes those open leg poses can make it worse. So you'll lay the legs out long in front. You can put this rolled blanket under your knees. Another option is to kind of put your feet wide on the mat and let your knees knock in towards each other. So just to kind of show you, you're going to butt up against this bolster or your pillows. Take the blanket, wrap it around the knees or the ankles. Legs are going to come out, and you don't have to bring them super close to start. You're just getting into this, and then we're going to lower ourselves back. And then you can kind of adjust however you need to feel comfortable. Maybe you take the legs a little further away. I'm really tight through the inner thigh today. So you're just going to lay back onto the bolster and just start by scanning the body. Just notice your breath. Notice how you feel without trying to change anything, just scanning with curiosity. Notice if the top of the head, the eyebrows or the jaw, notice how those feel. Are they a little tight? Are your shoulders up by your ears, or can you kind of rest them back into the bolster a little bit more? The chest and the belly, the hips, the toes, just to scan through and just notice how you're arriving. If your mind is kind of wandering around, see if you can draw it back here to the body. And one way to kind of calm and bring that mind back is through our breath. So on your next inhale, you're going to breathe in through the nose or the mouth to a count of 4. And you're going to exhale to a count of 6. And this longer inhale or this longer exhale, shorter inhale, is really calming to our nervous system. Lets it know we're not in fight or flight, we're not running, we don't need that extra oxygen. We are resting, we're restoring, we're safe. And so you're going to take a big inhale to a count of 4, starting at the base of your belly. Let the air fill it up like you're filling a glass of water. From the bottom up to the collarbones. And then as you exhale to that count of 6, let the chest relax. And when you get to that last bit of breath, draw the belly button in towards the spine, push the breath out. Inhaling, filling that belly, let the side of the ribs, the front, the back, all expand with the breath. And exhaling out, allowing the body to release and relax on the exhale. And take about 3 more rounds here. Really focus on allowing that diaphragm to grow and see if you can relax and rest through the pelvic floor on your inhales. And on your exhales, just allowing the body to relax. Feel the bolster supporting you. See if you can allow the jaw to release, the shoulders, the hips. And then after your last round of breath, we're going to bring one hand to our belly, one hand to our chest. Take your time. But just check in with your baby. This little thin layer of our body that separates us from this little life inside of us. We can place our hand there and the baby can sense us. Just breathe in and notice how amazing this phenomenon is. That the DNA that your baby carries will be with you after they're born, sometimes through the end of your life. And sometimes even the baby will have pieces of your DNA. That this little baby that you're growing is growing its own fingerprints, its own personality, all of those things unique only to them in the whole world. Breathe in knowing that you're building an organ inside of you throughout your whole first trimester. You're building that placenta. And if you can let go any of the fears or the worries or the views you might have of your body or how you might approach your labor or your motherhood experience, just let that fall by the wayside and just know that intuitively your body can do all of those things. If we can build human life inside of our belly, we can birth, we can mother, we can parent. And take one more breath, send all this love, all this connection, any intentions you want for your baby. Just breathe those in, feel them grow inside your chest. And as you exhale, send them down to the baby. Let them just be in that amniotic fluid surrounding the little baby as they breathe in. And as you're ready, you can let the arms called by the side kind of roll through the wrists, and then we're going to draw our legs in together with our hands and roll over to a side and push yourself on up. And then you'll want to sit either on a pillow or a blanket, something to keep your hips above your knees. That is really helpful with balancing the pelvis, So we're going to come into a comfortable seat. You can have the legs crossed or out long. If you're feeling really uncomfortable in your hips, you can put a couple blocks or pillows underneath the legs there. And just find those sit bones. Take a minute, roll the shoulders down the back. See if you can lift the belly up out of the pelvis. Lengthen the spine, lengthen the top of the head towards the ceiling. Ears tracking over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Strong, tall spine. Baby's drawing slightly in towards the belly. Just notice that posture. Notice how it feels. If it feels foreign, perhaps you might spend a lot of your day in another kind of drooped position or something. Just feeling that length. And on an inhale, we're going to bring the arms up. Take the gaze up. Oh, stretch. Exhale down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, reach up. Exhale down. You might even let the head travel with the hands. And then we're going to press the hands in front. Go ahead and push them away. Drop the chin to the chest. And you might shift side to side, just working through those shoulders, trying to release any tension you might be carrying. And then we'll release. You can take the hands either to the floor, to the bolster, whatever you're sitting on. I want you to draw the shoulder blades together like you're pinching a little pencil between them. Draw them together and let them come down the back. Try not to overly flare the ribs here. You might draw baby in towards spine. And then just take the gaze up towards the ceiling. Gentle stretch on the chest. And then slowly release. We're going to inhale, arms come up. Exhale, right hand's going to lower, left arm's going to reach. Really root down through that left sit bone. Reach through the fingers. And then exhale, opposite side. And let's switch one more time. Side stretching is really good if you have lower back pain. A lot of times kind of stretching some of these muscles that connect to our sacrum all the way up through the back can be really nice. So to that, we're going to take some hip circles. So we're going to inhale as we bring the chest forward. Exhale, round it back. Inhale forward. Exhale, rounding back. Just starting to open up through the hips. Find that organic movement. One more time this way. And then as you're ready, we'll switch. So inhaling forward, exhaling back, going the opposite way you did the first time. Just kind of check in with the body here. How's it feel? Intentionally breathing. Let that breath, let that body sensation check in. Keep you connected to this space. Keep the mind from wandering. And then once we're ready, let's go ahead and drop our right ear to right shoulder. If you want to take the right hand and just gently let it rest on the head, you can. And then you can also play with taking the left arm out to the side and kind of lifting and lowering it, turning the hand. You might find that there's a spot that feels exceptionally tight. Deep inhale, exhale. Try to release through the jaw here. Try to relax the shoulders down. And then slowly release the hand. Give the shoulders a roll. Opposite side, left ear to left shoulder. Again, you can play with lifting and lowering that right arm. Turning the hand in and out. And then come back to center. We're going to move the blocks. You can put them towards the top of your mat. And we're going to come onto all fours. If you want to put a blanket underneath your knees, you can. Especially if you're on wood floors. We can be kind to our knees. Keep them healthy. Because they really help us a lot throughout the day. So we're going to come into all fours. And I want hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Take a moment here, draw the baby in towards the spine, feel that engagement. And then on an inhale, we're going to drop the belly just slightly, take the gaze forward. Try not to overly exaggerate this pelvic tilt, but really just opening through the chest, gaze comes forward. And then exhale, press into the hands, round through the back. Chin comes to chest. Inhale, gaze comes forward, stretch through the front of the chest. Exhale, round, stretching through the back, the shoulders. 2 more times. And then from here, you can take the hands about a hand width in front. If you're having wrist discomfort, you can fold the mat and give yourself a little length and let the fingers be lower than the wrist. We can get carpal tunnel in pregnancy because we have all that extra fluid. But we're going to take our right leg behind us and we're going to press the toes down and push back through the heel, stretching that calf muscle. When we have dysfunction in the front of the hip, our calves can actually get really tight. Just stretching through that calf muscle, You might find a little gentle rocking feels nice. It's just up to you what feels good. And then come back to center. Then our left toes are going to come back. Pushing back, stretching through that calf muscle. You might even roll through the neck here. Keep that breath. And then as you're ready, our knees are going to come wide. We're going to sit our butt back towards our heels, and our arms can walk forward as the chest falls towards the mat. You can let the head rest on a block or a bolster or blanket. Your arms kind of stacked. Sometimes the belly, as it gets bigger, really takes up a lot of space. But we're coming into this child's pose here. And take about 3 breaths on the mat there. Feel the back of the ribs really expanding here in child's pose. And then after your 3rd breath, we're going to come on up. And we're going to take our blocks in front of us. We're going to take our right foot forward, coming into this low lunge position. Notice if your back foot's like really uneven, you want to try to track your heel with your butt. And then we're going to bring our hips, face them forward, and we want to balance our pelvis. So we're going to draw our pubic bone up and our tailbone down. And then I want you to, again, start to lengthen that spine up towards the ceiling, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hip over knee. There's a slight tuck in the pelvis. And then if you feel like this is enough hip flexor stretch, you can stay here. I have super tight hip flexors, and sometimes this is all I need. Or you can start to kind of glide forward a little bit, and that's going to intensify that hip flexor stretch. You can even give a little pulse. This is like a really important one to do daily. If you're going to do anything, I would say hip flexors, inner thigh, piriformis, wow, hamstrings. I can't pick a favorite. But this one is traditionally very tight, especially if you work a desk job, you do a lot of spin class, a lot of crouching in the garden. You're going to have a tight hip flexor. All right, so now we're going to take our blocks and we're going to start to walk them back under our shoulders. And we're going to bring that right foot forward, coming up onto the right heel for a hamstring stretch. So here we're going to lift the spine really long. And we want to draw the right toes in, so we're flexing through that ankle. And then if this is enough, you can stay here, or you can start to walk the blocks forward to intensify that hamstring stretch. You can even take the hand into this right hip crease and drag that right hip back, so you're making sure that your hips are even here. Keep the foot flexed and engaged. Breathe through it. See if your shoulders are creeping up or your jaw's getting tight. Just take some breaths here. Release through the body. Allow the stretch. And then you're going to bring the blocks to the inside of the leg, and we're going to walk our foot off the side of the mat, coming into a side lunge. We're going to come on back up. So we're going to be kind of like this pose. And so from here, find that pelvic balance. So draw the pubic bone up, tailbone down. And then you can press into and towards that right hip. You should feel the stretch here on the inner left thigh, maybe a little through the groin. Take a few pulses. And then if you'd like, you can bring the right arm to the right knee. Left arm reaches up really tall and then over. And then we're going to come back to center. Take a few cat-cows here. So like we did in the beginning, inhale, gaze comes forward. Exhale, round, press through the hands, draw the pelvis in. Inhale forward, exhale round. And then we're going to do that on the opposite side. So our left foot's going to come forward. Find steady pelvis. You can stay here or you can glide forward a little bit, intensifying that stretch. You can even invite a little pulse. Excuse me. And then we'll take our left foot forward. Those blocks are going to come underneath the shoulders. Find our long spine. Find our even pelvis. You want it parallel with the wall in front of you. And then if you'd like, you can walk the blocks forward, keeping that straightish back. Keep wrapping that left hip back, right hip forward. We're flexing through the left ankle. And breathe. Scanning the body, checking with the brow, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders. Is there anything working that doesn't need to? Are you gripping the blocks? Really start to tune in with releasing tension and discomfort. And then from here, you can shift forward. We're going to walk that left foot off the mat, coming back into that side lunge position. And again, after you find your steady pelvis, we're going to glide and kind of pulse into the left hip. You should feel this on the inner right thigh. This is a great pose for getting the baby down into the pelvis during, the first kind of stage of labor. This opens the top of the pelvis in a way that also helps the baby kind of navigate through some of the weird spots. And then if you'd like, you can take the right arm up and stretch it over, just intensifying and adding a little bit. You should feel more of a stretch on the inner right thigh. You also feel some in the right side. And then we're going to come back to center. We're going to move the blocks over to the side. Give the hips a little sway. And this time we're just going to take some hip circles forward and back. And then opposite direction. We're inhaling as we come forward and exhaling as we come back. And then once you find even, we're going to bring a block. And we're going to place it between our thighs. And I want you to draw your tailbone towards the block, like you're trying to pop that block out. Hands are going to come a little bit further ahead than our shoulders. We're going to tuck our toes and we're going to lift our hips back, coming into down dog. And I want you to keep drawing the tailbone towards the towards the block. Press into all the fingers, all the pads of the hand. Shoulder blades are coming down the back. And then from here, we're going to come back down. You can take the block out from underneath. And to come up, we're going to take our blocks under. We're going to take our right foot forward. Left leg is going to tuck and lift. And then we'll step left foot forward, coming into our forward fold here. You can make enough space for the baby, so you might have a wider legged forward fold than you would in your normal yoga class. Hands can be on the blocks here just for a little extra support, but go ahead and let the head hang heavy. You can nod it yes and no. You can sway side to side. And then on an inhale, we're going to press the hands into the blocks, lift halfway, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Do that again. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to bend our knees generously. Use our hands to push ourselves on up. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So, here at the top of our mat, we're going to move through a couple alternative sun salutations. So we're going to inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to thighs, come on down, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to knees, come on down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, we're going to take our left foot back. You can keep the blanket there. You can move it out of the way, but we're going to take our left foot back. We want our toes slightly forward than our heel. If you're feeling a little out of balance, take a wider stance. So take the legs more towards the edges of your mat. Front leg is pointing forward and we're bending that leg. And we're coming into what is called a warrior one stance. And then we'll inhale, arms come up. Again, working on that pelvic balance. Right hips coming back, left hip forward. Pull the shoulders away from the ear. One more breath here. See if you can lift a little taller. And then exhale, go ahead and find your blocks. We're going to straighten this front leg and we're going to pull our right hip back, left hip forward. And then you can let the baby and your head fall to the inside of this right leg. Other option, if this is too intense, is to stay lifted up a little bit more on these blocks. And here I want you to really focus on pressing into the feet, lifting through the arches of the feet so that we're not just collapsing into this pose, but we're keeping some strength here. And then we're going to inhale, lift halfway. We're going to bend that front leg. Go ahead and press yourself back on up to warrior one. And exhale, hands to heart center. Go ahead and step yourself forward. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. And then we'll inhale, push yourself on up. Standing, exhale, hands to heart center. We're going to work that through the other side. So we're taking our right foot back. Toes are pointing slightly more forward than the heel, or slightly out. So this is your foot. You want it kind of like that. And then we're going to take our left hip, pull it back, right hip comes forward. We're facing the front of the mat. Inhale, arms come up. Shoulders away from the ears. Take a couple breaths here. Drawing that baby towards the spine, lifting the crown of the head towards the ceiling, but keeping that bend in the front leg. Really strong feet. And then as you're ready, we're going to start to straighten that front leg. We're going to find our blocks. And we're going to keep pulling this left hip back, right hip forward. Keep using our feet for the strength. But with this straight leg, body can fall to the inside of the left leg. Baby can fall to the inside. Coming into a pyramid pose. This is a really wonderful stretch to balance the pelvis. One more breath here. And as you're ready, we're going to bend that front knee. Hands come up to the knee. Push yourself on up. Warrior one more time. Take a breath here. And then as you're ready, you can step forward. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet. Go ahead and come on up. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, have your blocks handy. We're going to inhale, come on up. Exhale, fold. Hands find the blocks. We're going to step that left foot back. Drop the lower knee. Right foot comes to match. And instead of a traditional kind of vinyasa, chaturanga flow, we're going to do a little bit of work on the bottom of the mat. So here, I want you to come into a supported plank pose on your knees. We want to tuck our arms into our sides. You're kind of rotating the elbows forward here. And then we're going to start to bend the elbows and come about halfway down. Exhale, push yourself up. Inhale, lower. Keep those elbows grazing by the sides. Exhale, push. And do that 3 more times. We're just doing 5 of these. If you use, sometimes you can hang straps or use a push bar to kind of hold on to during the pushing phase. You need a good amount of arm strength. So it's good to strengthen those arms. And then from here, we're going to take a down dog. So hands come forward a little bit, tuck the toes, shift the hips back. Take 3 breaths here. And then we'll lower the knees. Take the hands to the blocks. This time our left foot's going to come forward. Lift the right knee. Step yourself on up. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press the hands to the legs. Bring yourself on up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Here at the top of the mat, we'll do a little glute strengthening. If our hips become overly tight, a lot of times our glutes will get weak and that can cause back pain. It can also further imbalance the body. So we're going to take our feet a little wider than hip width. Try to have the feet pointing forward. If you need to have them out a little bit, that's okay. But having those feet pointing forward, we're going to inhale as we sit back like we're sitting into a chair. We want our knees tracking with our toes, not going over the toes. And we're going to exhale, press up. Inhale, sit back. Exhale, press up. Turn this way. Inhale, we're sitting back. Exhale to press. Trying to keep that chest upright here. As you're pressing up, we're pressing into the heels. You're squeezing the butt at the top. Last time, coming back to the top of this mat. Find your feet, press them into the mat. Let your palms open in front of you. Gently close the eyes if that's comfortable. Big inhale, exhale. Just check in with the body. Notice how it's shifted, how it's changed. Where's the energy moving? Where's the mind? Where's the breath? And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhaling, fold, bend those knees, push yourself on up. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, we're going to take our left foot back. This time, we're coming into warrior 2. So our left foot's going to be parallel with the back edge of the mat. And our right toes are pointing forward and we're bending that front leg. Don't feel like you have to fully open to the side. A lot of people's hips just are not meant to do that. And that's okay. So we're going to take our arms out to the side. We're going to bend that front leg and kind of sink into it, but keeping the strength in the feet here. Stretching through the inner left thigh. Deep breath, shoulders away from the ears. Turn that right palm up. Inhale, reach back behind you. Exhale, right elbow to right knee, left arm over the ears, stretch through the side. Inhale, bring yourself back. We're going to straighten that front leg. And we're going to start to pull the hips back as we reach the arm forward. And then wherever your hips, your inner thigh feel like they've met their edge, find your block and bring your hand to it, your right hand down to it. Coming into triangle pose. Take a couple breaths here. Keep actively pressing into those feet. We're not collapsing into the right side. And then as you're ready, we're going to bend that front leg. Come back to your warrior two. This time we're going to take our blocks with us. And we're going to turn to the side of our mat. Toes slightly in, heels slightly out. You can keep the blocks at this higher stage to start, stacked under our hands. We're going to inhale, lift halfway, exhale, fold. Then inhale, lift halfway, and we're going to do some twisting here. So our left hand will stay on the block, right arm reaches up and twist. Exhale, lower. Inhale, opposite arm. And you can let the hips gently sway with you as you twist. This is one in spinning babies that they say is good to do every day as well. You can do it with a chair. So if you're at the office, take a little lunch break, do some stretching. A couple more here. And then we'll walk our blocks back to the top of the mat. Left foot comes forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach yourself on up. Exhale, hands to heart center. This time our right foot's going to step back. I'm going to switch so that my back is not towards the camera. But the opposite foot is going back. So your right foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. Left leg, knee is tracking with your second and third toe. Arms come out to the side, bend that front leg. Sink into it if you feel like it. Keep lifting, belly up, shoulders away from the ears. Left palm turns up, bring it behind. Exhale, left arm to left knee, right arm up over ear. Extended side angle. Breath or two here. And then come back up. We're going to straighten the front leg. Reach the hips back as you pull the arm forward. Wherever your hips stop, that's where your hand goes. And you just imagine you're in between two panes of glass here. Keep pressing through the feet, lifting through the arches. Lift through that left side. Bend the leg. Come on up. Find your blocks. We're going to walk back to the side of our mat. Toes in a little more than the heels. This time we're going to inhale, lift halfway, and we're going to walk our blocks forward and start to pull our hips back like we're in a down dog. Your head can kind of rest here. But you're actively pressing through the hands as you're pulling the hips back, slight bend in the knees. This can give you some lovely traction on the back. And then you can walk the blocks over to the right side, bend a little bit in the right leg. And then walk them to center and then over to the left, bending the left leg a little. And then coming back through center. Walk the blocks back to the top of your mat. Step your feet together. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to heart center. From here, we'll just do a little balance pose. So we'll just play with tree. So bring the weight into the right foot. And then we'll turn the left foot out. This might be phase 1. So just working on our balance, or definitely our balance shifts as we are pregnant. And then maybe you bring the leg to the inside of the shin, the calf muscle. Or if you'd like, you can bring it to the inside of the thigh, but not pressing on the knee. I'm just not there anymore. And then maybe your branches spread. Keep pulling baby towards spine, lifting long. Breathing. And then from here, see if you can gracefully release. Give the legs a little shake. And then we'll switch sides. So this time, weight comes into the left foot, and then either right foot could just come into this tripod shape, or the inside of the calf muscle, inside of the inner thigh. And then you can set out your branches if you'd like. Not taking it too seriously, just a little play. And then we can slowly release. And then we'll work our way down to the mat. So we're going to inhale, arms come up. Exhale, hands to knees, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, go ahead and take left foot back. Then our right foot back. Give the hips a little sway here. And from here, we're going to play with a little squat. So you can stack your blocks on top of each other. And there's a couple ways you could come into this squat, depending on what feels right. You can come into it from a standing position, or if you'd like, you can bring your legs in front of your blocks, sit back onto the blocks. My mat is very sticky. And then bring your left hip forward, and then your right hip. But we're coming into a supported squat here. And if this is too much of a squat or not enough, you can adjust your blocks. You can add a block, you can take a block away. But we're just going to take a few breaths here, working on some pelvic floor. So I know I mentioned in the beginning, overly tight pelvic floor can have discomfort during sex. It can have feeling like you need to go to the bathroom after you've already gone recently because you're not fully emptying. If you tend to grind your teeth or clench your jaw, that can be an indicator that your pelvic floor is probably on the tighter end. On the other side, if you're leaking pee with, not getting to the bathroom in time, feeling a sense of heaviness or just like a lack of tone, then you might need a little more of the tightening end of this. So we're going to do lengthening and stretching, and then we'll add on the toning. If you're really tight, I encourage you just to work on the lengthening. We want our pelvic floor to be really nice and spongy and pliable and ready to release during labor. But on the other end, if you are having a lack of strength there, you might be having some back pain associated with that. So it might be helpful here to close your eyes. I want you to feel your sit bones on the blocks. So feel your sit bones there. And then we're going to just visualize our pelvic floor as a little triangle that sits there between the sit bones. The front reaches up to our pubic bone. The back is touching our tailbone. And as we're inhaling, we're breathing into the pelvic floor. Our diaphragm is expanding and gently pressing those organs down into our pelvic floor for just a natural little lengthening and stretching. So when you inhale deeply, I want you to breathe down and try to release the space. Imagine all those muscles in between that little diamond, just relaxing and stretching. Exhales are just passive. Inhale, release, stretch. Exhale, passive. And then on your next inhale, we'll do the same. We're just lengthening and releasing as that diaphragm expands. We're not trying to bust through that pelvic floor, just gently stretching it. And then on your next exhale, you're going to imagine you're picking up a blueberry with your vagina. And you're drawing it up through the vaginal cavity. And to do that, you have to bring together and kind of squeeze the muscles in the front, back, and sides of the pelvic floor. So it's like you're drawing them all in and up. And then as you inhale, you're slowly releasing that blueberry back down, allowing the pelvic floor to relax. Exhaling, drawing in and up. Imagine about 3 floors of an elevator. When you get to the top, inhale, try to slowly release and stretch. Let's do that 2 more times, either exhaling that blueberry up or just taking a normal exhale. And then after your last one, you can shift the feet back behind you and we'll come into more of a hero's pose. So knees together, hips are sitting back onto the blocks. Knees in, feet out. That's going to open the outlet of the pelvis. It's great for pushing. Let's see, it's telling me something. Okay, I think I'm running out of time. So we're going to work on a little transverse abdominal breath. So we're going to inhale, let the ribs fully expand just like we did at the beginning of class. Front, back, side of the ribs all expand. And then as we're exhaling, we're going to imagine we're blowing out of a straw and we're drawing baby and belly button towards the spine. Imagining a corset kind of pulling our ribs in towards each other. So we're inhaling, fully expanding. Exhaling, blowing out through that straw. Belly draws in towards spine. Pulling the ribs towards each other. This is our transverse abdominals. Can't do a lot of ab work while pregnant, but we can do this. And this is a great muscle to strengthen because it's naturally going to separate a little bit as your belly grows. And doing some of this transverse abdominal breath is some of the first work you'll do postpartum. And it's also some work that you can do while pregnant to keep to prevent diastasis recti from being really extreme. So that's why we don't want to do a lot of sit-ups, planks, any kind of core work that's working our abs really strongly, because with all the relaxin in our body separating ligaments and things already, you can get the space between this muscle really stretched apart, and that can cause a lot of issues. postpartum. So this transverse abdominal breath is what we're going to work on every day after class. So we're inhaling, fully expanding through the rib cage. We're exhaling, we're pushing out through the breath, drawing belly towards spine. This is a breath you can use also while pushing. You can imagine engaging this as you're releasing and relaxing the pelvic floor to push that baby out. All right, so we'll do one more stretch or two here on the floor. I just want to make sure that this isn't going to die on me. So come and sit up on a blanket or your bolster or just something where your hips are a little higher. You can do pigeon pose while pregnant, but if you're having one-sided back pain, this is an alternative. Pigeon is where like the foot's in front of you and you're kind of leaning over. It can cause a lot of discomfort. And so my preference is to do fire log. So both legs are in front. We're going to take our right leg, cross it over our left. We're going to draw the left foot back. This might be where you stay here, kind of leaning back. You can rock. We want our right foot to be flexed, right ankle flexed. And where you should feel this is here in our piriformis, the back of your butt, kind of wrapping around the hip. The next kind of stage would be to take that left leg so it's parallel with the side of the mat and come forward. You want the legs stacked on top of each other. If your bottom left leg won't touch, take a block and put it under there. That'll keep you from injuring the ligaments or the muscles in there or pulling anything unnecessarily. And then you can find a really tall spine here. And then if you want a little bit more, keep that tall spine, but start to bring baby chest forward and do a bit of a fold. That's too much for me today. So just stretching through here. See if you can just let that space relax. Shoulders down, jaw relaxed. And then we're going to slowly walk the hands back. To come out, we're going to lift the legs, straighten the left. Right comes off, give them a little shake. And then left leg crosses over right. Draw that foot back. Start by a little gentle sway. And then find whatever works for you. If you want to bring that right foot forward. Again, if the knee's not touching, put a pillow or something beneath it. It's going to help you. And then from here, just take some deep breaths. If you want to walk forward a little bit, get a little more stretch, you can. And then we'll walk our hands back. We can straighten the right leg. Left leg comes out. We'll take the legs wide. You can take a block. We're going to inhale really tall. I want you to flex through the ankles, so draw those feet in. Inhale, really long spine, and then just slowly start to bring the chest forward, pulling the sit bones back. Stretching one more time through this inner thigh. And then come on back. Soles of the feet cup together. Let the hips fall out to the side. If you're having one-sided back pain, take them a little further away from you. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, maybe bring the chest forward just a little here. Keep rooting back through the sit bones. And then draw the knees in. Shift onto all fours, and we're going to get ready for Shavasana. So, first and third trimester, or first and second trimester, you can do as we did at the beginning of the class on that supported bolster pose, coming back, legs are going to be long in front. Or if you would like, you can do kind of a supported side lying pose. So you're actually going to have your ankle higher than your knee. This is a pose for pushing. It gives us a slightly inward rotation of the hip. So you're going to take one block on the lowest. Let me put this down. One block that's going to be towards your head, lower, and then one block on kind of this medium length. You're going to take your bolster and it should sit a little bit more up in the back. I'm coming onto my left side, so I'm bringing my left hip to where this bolster starts, and then I'm lowering myself and bringing my right leg on so that my ankle is higher than my knee. And then you can pick up baby and kind of rotate them forward a little bit. And if you want a pillow, blanket, something under the head, just come into this comfortable Shavasana. And just scan through the body, starting at the crown of the head and working your way down, letting each muscle relax. The crown of the head, the eyebrows, the jaw, shoulders, chest, belly, hips, knees, the front of the calves and the back of the calves, top of the feet, the bottom of the feet, all the way to the toes, top of the hands, the bottom of the hands. Allow all those muscles to relax. And you can stay here as long as you need, just allowing your body to rest and to recoup, spending this little time with your baby. And thank you so much.